Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What is your first thought about someone when they have a Confederate flag sticker on their car? That it is a weird thing to do here in Germany. Das Jukeboys ist it again. Die Jukeboys sind wieder dabei. Do not engage. Living in the north, it's always an interaction bait. Guys with anger issues that want someone to say something. The flag's idiotic in the south, up here it's pathetic. Lol, I've seen it in rural Ontario too. The rich Confederate history of cottage country. Little anecdote. In the 90s, NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt put a Southern Pride sticker on his personal pickup, which had a Confederate flag in its design. When one of his employees, an African-American woman, saw it, she told him it made her uncomfortable. His reaction? He immediately apologized, looked for a razor blade and scraped it off his truck. If that story were more widely known, given the near demigod status of Dale Earnhardt throughout the South, it would probably be impactful. Carl David, are you saying Dale decided tying Southern pride to a flag that oppressed people was bad? Yep. Well, damned if I'm gonna argue with Dale. He's looking down on us and I don't want his kind of anger on me. Quote, nah. They'd just say it wasn't true and go on about their day. He's a racer, but not a racist. I ain't no racist. Hell, I like all the races. Drag racing, circuit racing, street racing, dirt racing. As a Louisianian, if in the South, they're likely unaware they're racist or they're turbo-racist. Outside the South, I'm not only a racist, I'm also an absolute fucking moron. Quote, yeah. A lot of people in the South don't associate it with the Civil War or anything. They just think it means they're proud to be Southern in drive a tractor and catch a fish way. They're like, it's the flag my granddaddy had at his house when I would come over and more made us biscuits. And I love my granddaddy and more, so I'll keep up the tradition of the flag like a good ol' Southern boy. Coincidentally, more and papa probably say the most offhand racist shit. They just think it means they're proud to be Southern in drive a tractor and catch a fish way. I'm absolutely 100% certain that there used to be a lot of people like that. They had no malicious intent and were not racists. By today, they have to have become aware that it is associated with racist groups and offends a lot of people. Even if they don't mean it that way, they are disregarding the feelings of others. At the very least, there is a similar situation with the word Dixie. Dolly Parton has a dinner show that used to be called The Dixie Stampede. Now it is just The Stampede. When Dolly was asked about the name change, she explained it very well. There's such a thing as innocent ignorance. And so many of us are guilty of that, she observes. When they said Dixie was an offensive word, I thought, well, I don't want to offend anybody. This is a business. We'll just call it the Stampede. As soon as you realize that something is a problem, you should fix it, Parton adds. Don't be a dumbass. That's where my heart is. I would never dream of hurting anybody on purpose. Quote, source, https. tasteofcountry.com/y-dolly-parton-drop-dixie-from-stampede/ UTM_source equals TSM clip and UTM_medium equals referral. Turbo racist sounds like a car game designed by ESL students. Are you fastest enough to become turbo racist? Choosing from over 20 vehicles, including sporting cars, muscular cars, and all-terrain vehicles. Quote, as an Australian, I am often confused because there really are fucktard Aussies who do this. The South will rise ag in Australia, but you didn't consider the spiders, you bitch. Quote, what a fucking idiot. Literally, first thought always is some iteration of fucking idiot. Missouri was not even part of the Confederacy, dumbass. For reference, I live in Mo, and they are all over down here. I get the same thing in Indiana. It's not common per se, but I see it often enough that I think about the fact that Indiana didn't border the CSA either and had the whole Commonwealth of Kentucky as a buffer. But then again, I know Indiana's reputation and history with sundown towns and the Klan. So my emotions transition into just a profound sense of disappointment in my fellow Hoosiers. Indiana, the middle finger of South, extends perfectly into the Midwest. Indiana native as well. Read about the history of Huntington, Martinsville, and New Palestine. New Palestine's high school mascot is the dragon, and the colors are crimson and white. The KKK's Grand Dragon resided there at one time and the group had a heavy influence. Sundown towns are still alive in many areas. I loathe seeing it in my home state of MN. The 1st Minnesota Infantry Regiment had an 82% casualty rate in Gettysburg. They had an awful casualty rate. But they were absolute heroes that saved the Union line at its critical time. It's a shame the movie didn't cover their sacrifice as well as 20th Maine's brilliance. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons why teaching history is so critical. Residents of the state should be proud of their history instead of celebrating those they fought against. To be fair, we do have an official Confederate flag at the Historical Society, because we won it at Gettysburg. The Kansas National Guard Museum has metric but loads of Nazi paraphernalia they took from the Nazis, including one of Hitler's prized portraits. They're all tagged with how they were obtained, and it's one of the only places where Nazi paraphernalia seems acceptable. Like, "Hey guys, check out all the Nazis we smoked in this battle." Single quote. Perhaps the only legitimate reason to own and display one. I love that MN has a Confederate flag and refuses to give it back. The first Minnesota earned that traitor's rag. For the uninitiated, https://2017/08/20/Minnesota-has-confederate-symbol- and -it-is-going-to-keep-it-. It's the Minnesota first, because they were the first in the nation to volunteer to fight the slave states. Minnesota became a state just 2 years before the war started. Most of those volunteers were immigrants, willingly gave up their lives for a country they chose. Man, that is a brutal piece of history.